Hello, this is Mrs. Fiedler, and today we're going to be learning about the basics of Edmodo. Your teacher should have given you a handout, and if you just follow along, you'll be able to keep up with the lesson. So first off, what is Edmodo? The easiest way to think of Edmodo, it is like the Facebook for school. You're going to use Edmodo like you would any social networking. You can easily communicate with your teacher, with your classmates, but it's done in a really safe environment. It's a very small group as opposed to Facebook. It's limited just to your teacher and your classmates, and your teacher monitors it. There's also a mobile app that we'll discuss later, and you can use that to communicate with your teachers and turn in some of your assignments. So first, before we even learn how to set up an account, let's talk about the code of conduct, what we expect you to do and how we expect you to behave when you use Edmodo at school. One of the first things you're going to be asked to do is to create an avatar so people can get to know you and the class online. And we only want you to use avatars that are included with Edmodo for your profile picture. Never use a real photo of yourself. Remember, this is an online program and we want you to always, always, always protect your online privacy. Let's talk a moment about posting etiquette. Those are the rules of when you are posting messages on Edmodo. First of all, only post about things that are relevant to your project or your class. Stay on task. Don't joke about the pep rally. Don't talk about the silly clothes that people wore. Just focus on what you're doing in class, what the task is at hand. Always be respectful. Remember to treat others the way you want to be treated. Never be sarcastic. This is important for all things you do online. It's one thing to be sarcastic and try to be funny when you're face to face with someone and they can tell you're joking, but when you're doing it online in a written format, it's very easily misunderstood. So don't use sarcasm on Edmodo or anything online, really. Remember to use proper grammar. This is a way of turning in your assignments. You don't want to use texting language. You want to treat it as if it was a discussion in class. It just happens to be taking place online. Let's talk again about privacy. Never ever post any personal information on Edmodo, and we'll be talking about that at length. But as with all things online, you never want to post your name or when you were born, any contact information like your phone number, your address, or your email. Also, don't ever try to promote your personal website or blog on Edmodo. That's another way that online predators could locate you. So keep it very private. Never post photos or videos of yourself or your classmates unless you have your teacher's permission to do so. Okay, some good practices to get in the habit of when you're using Edmodo. Remember to be respectful. Check in often. Don't forget about assignments and not check your Edmodo account for a week at a time. Check in frequently. If you've learned something and you've had an aha moment, post about it. Share that with the group. And then as others do that, you want to read about their experiences and find out what they're learning. Maybe you could learn from them. Always give positive and constructive feedback. When you're commenting on writing, don't just say, I didn't like it. Be positive, be supportive, but give them some constructive pointers on how they can make their writing better. Ways that you can actually improve your grades through Edmodo. These are kind of extra credit. You can think of it like that with Edmodo. Post anything that you find that you think would be interesting to the rest of the class. So if you're studying slavery, for example, and you found an excellent website about the Underground Railroad, share it with the class. If you see that a classmate has posted a question, maybe they don't know what page an assignment is on, or they don't know when an assignment is due, answer that question. Your teacher would really appreciate that. And finally, an idea, you could help out a classmate who's sick one day. If you took notes or you got an assignment in digital form, you could pass it on to them through Edmodo. And remember that all of the behaviors at our school, all of the rules about student behavior and consequences also apply online. If you have any questions, pause this tutorial for a moment and your teacher will take them. Okay, we've discussed the code of conduct and our expectations for you when you're online with Edmodo. Let's talk about setting up an account. If you are following along in your handout, we're in the third bullet, creating a student account. The first thing you want to do is get the group code from your teacher. Make sure you write it down. It's difficult to remember. Then you're going to go to wcpss.edmodo.com and you're going to click on I'm a student. Next, you are going to put in that group code that your teacher gave you and now your username. And let's talk about that for a moment. For your username, I want you to use your first initial, last name, and then Panthers. Your password should be your student lunch number. It asks you for email, but we do not want you to add any email address. Give your first name, your last name, accept the terms of service, and click sign up. The first name and last name will only appear to your teacher. This is not going to be made public to anyone but your teacher. Okay, now you have an account and you can see that the class that your teacher had given you, that Edmodo group code, appears on the left. And now we're going to update our account settings. So under Me, you're going to click that drop-down arrow in the upper right-hand corner and select Settings. And here is where you can choose an avatar. You can change your different color. If there is an avatar that you find online that you can use, that's fine. Remember, don't put your real photograph on there. You don't have to, in fact, we don't want you to include your email address, but do check that your name and last name is correct. No other personal information is necessary. And when you're done, click Save Personal Info. All right, you see your original class here, but I want to talk to you about joining an additional group. So what you want to do is click on the plus icon next to the groups and put in the next class group code that your teacher gives you. And click Join. You can see you've been successfully added to a group, and now you see there's a second group on the left-hand side. You now belong to 2 classes. All right, on the back of your handout, we're looking at replying to a post. So if you want to reply to a post from your teacher, you would simply click on this reply icon. And immediately a bubble comes up where you can start typing, and it says type your reply. Type in what you want to say and click reply. Your reply immediately showed up beneath your teacher's post. Now let's say you want to type a note. You want to post to the group. So remember to always follow proper online etiquette when you're posting anything online. Assume everybody can see it and that it will never go away. What you want to do is type the note by clicking on the note bubble. And in the Send To box, click the drop-down arrow and decide who you want to send it to. In this case, I would send it to the whole group. If I wanted to attach a file, I would click on this icon. If I wanted to attach a link, I would click here. And then if I wanted to attach something I'd saved, it's in my backpack. And you can think of the backpack as like a virtual flash drive. It's going to save all of your documents and links and things that you've shared in the past in the cloud, and you can access them later. Now remember this, if you use something in one class, 1 year, but you think it might be helpful a year from now, you can always access that in your backpack. It stays there forever. When you're ready to post your comment, click Send. Now let's say you want to post a question, but just to your teacher. You just want to do a direct message to your teacher, not to the whole group. So type in your message here. And this is the important part. Very carefully look at who you're sending it to. I want to send it directly to Mrs. Fiedler, not to the whole group. Double check you're sending it to the right person, and then click Send. Now your message will go just to your teacher. Now let's talk about turning in assignments. Let's say that your teacher posted an assignment. It's going to look like this. You want to thoroughly read all of the instructions and then click Turn In. Type your response. And then take a moment to tell your teacher what you thought of the assignment. Was it really fun? You got to collaborate with your friends or make a video? Then let your teacher know that. If you thought you were kind of confused or you didn't have enough time, you can let them know that too. Again, you can attach files, links, or things that you've saved in your backpack. You can post additional comments, and then you can turn in your assignment. Remember, one last thing, you can always download the Edmodo app if you have a mobile device. It works for iOS and Android. And then you can post assignments, check homework on the go. If you're headed to soccer practice, you can check your iPhone and see if there was a response to your question. Or you can send a message to your teacher. Well, hopefully this answers your questions and gets you started with Edmodo. If you have any further questions, feel free to ask your teacher, or you can come see me in the Media Center. Thanks.